Today we're going to be walking through the production track I made of my last live loop. So again, it just started out as an idea I had on my phone in the middle of the night, and the next day I transformed that idea into a live loop. Then the following 3 days, I transformed that into a production song. So let's do this. Let's start with the raw live loop recording, and then I'll show you how I make that into a session that I can edit and turn into a mix. And then I'll show you the full production session in the end. Here we go. The shakers.
Is your favorite little words that you never say. All I want is our moments, frozen to and we'll walk right in. All I need is your skin on me, fall in a dream and we'll catch the stars. Half a mind and your broken thoughts make me stay with your broken tears. Give me more than you need me to, I need you more than I can say. Change, I crossed the line, lost on myself to keep you on mine. Told you I'd change, I tried my best, cut out my heart, left it on the table. Told you I'd change, I crossed the line, lost on myself to keep you on mine. Told you I'd change.
All right, so that's the full raw live loop. Now, when I want to go edit the whole session into something that I can mix, it's kind of a pain to constantly have to start from the beginning in order to get to the middle section, because if I go like in the middle, it doesn't start right every single time. So I take this whole session and I make each one of these things into their own loop. So I don't have to use the looper down here. I'll show you what I mean. So here we have the same session, just all the loops that I made live are just, I take this section from here to here and I duplicate the loop. That's all it is. And then what I like to do is add some compression and some EQ to the guitars and the vocals and drums and mix it to make it sound a little better. But ultimately what you're hearing here is the raw live loop, just produced a little bit to make it sound good. I didn't edit any of the audio. I didn't take anything away because I want to retain the live performance as much as possible. Let's start with just the guitar. Here's a shaker. It wasn't really perfectly on time, but sometimes, you know, with live performances, it's not perfect. That was the tambourine. Tambour. It's kind of this ethnic instrument that I used as a percussion string instrument. It's pretty cool. So my background vocals, And then here's a synthesizer. And then we have the sub 37 bass. And then, so what I did is I took that same performance and put it left and right. Played it again to get a stereo effect. And then I have the OB6 synthesizer. All right, and then we have my guitar. So here are the vocals.
All I want is your favorite little words that you never say.
So a little pitchy, but again, live, that's how it is. Sometimes I get the pitch right. Sometimes it's a little tricky. Vocal is not my first instrument, but I'm trying. I'm getting better. Oh, we got drums. This was a kit I used, 707 Flight Time kit. Here are the vocals for the chorus.
Told you I'd change, I tried my best, cut on my heart.
What I like doing is I have a lot of times in live looping, I'll have this background vocal effect, and I use Pitch Monster for that. It's really cool. It's so I can, when I'm singing, I can get a background vocal right away, and I don't have to sing it twice. And then, oh yeah, the drums. You know, really raw. Again, all of these into their little tiny loops so I can just click around, mix, do a quick mix, because I don't spend too much time on mixing this. And then on the main outs, I use a limiter from FabFilter, and I use the Pro MB EQ compression. Then I use this tape saturator, adds a little bit more beef. Then I use a little bit of this Pultec EQ. This Fairchild compressor is really cool. It can get a little noisy. It can get me a little bit, sometimes it's a little bit too, it's a little bit too much fuzz, but also adds kind of a lot of beef. So I use it a lot, but recently I've had to take it out because it just added too many artifacts. Let's go to the full production song. So if you haven't already, check out my last video. I run through the whole production track. This is the full track now, full production, turning that simple idea into a finished song. What I noticed is the song was too fast, so I slowed it down a little bit. And then I took my vocal performance, I sang through the whole thing, I wrote the rest of the lyrics, sang everything, and then transformed my vocals into a different vocal using AI. Let's run through a little bit of this.
All I want is your favorite little words that you never say. All I want is our moments, cruising to and walk right in.
Yeah, so kind of a lot different. In a way, it's very similar, but then, yeah, the vibe is quite different. So one thing I did was replace the guitar with two stereo guitars. Let's listen to those. What I like to do with guitars is play through the whole verse, through the whole chorus. Sometimes I like the looping effect, but I think playing through the whole thing, it's more organic, it's more honest. Here are two other shakers. I'm sorry, claps. It's just on either side. I did one take with claps on one side and then another take with claps on the other side. Another stereo effect. 808 bass. I love an 808 bass. Just adds so much to a track. Here's a vocal.
All I want is your favorite little words that you never say. All I want is a moment.
So you have some little artifacts in between. I need to clean those up. The synth sound. I'm not so sure if I like that synth sound because I feel like it kind of gets in the way of the vocals.
One is a moment. Cruising to the walk right in.
I don't know. What do you think? Should I keep that? What I like to do is keep something from the actual live loop in the final session. So I kept these vocal harmonies. But what I did is I used this LFO. Oops. I used this LFO to modulate the format in the tuner. So I have this. It was cool. I like that effect. I'm going to use that a little bit more. And it's so easy to do it. You can set right here where you want that LFO to be directed. So here are the vocals for the chorus.
Told you I'd change, I tried my best. Cut out my heart, left it on the table. Told you I'd
Need to clean it up a little bit. The harmony.
Told you I'd change, I tried my best. Cut out my heart, left it on the table.
And then I used it with another harmony up here.
Told you I'd change, I tried my best. Cut out my heart, left it on the table. Told you.
Electric bass. And then I changed the bass a little bit later in the next chorus. And then I use that same bass a little bit later in the other choruses. And then here's electric guitar. Abbey Road string quartet from Spitfire. Really, really great strings. Love them. Yeah, sounds really good. So that sounds like this. And with the guitar, it sounds really cool. Bass. The shakers and the claps. So what I used is this thing, just a water bottle. I make my own shakers. So I used a water bottle and I used one of these things, a brush. Just put it in my lap. I like using things around me to create percussive elements. So yeah, you can hear that. So together, I want you to hear this with the bass, the electric guitar, and these strings. Then all that with the drums. Yeah, sounds cool. Here is the second verse.
All I want is staying. All I want is staying. And the room goes quiet and cold. All I want is your patience. Got your silence taking control. All I want is the honest little words that cut.
And then I used my Super Gemini synthesizer to help the bass, like beef it up a little bit. Together with a bass. Whole thing. Tiny bit of difference, but supports it a little bit more. And the acoustic drum. Bridge, I changed the guitars a little bit. What I did in the bridge is I took my acoustic guitar and I put a cloth underneath the strings, just like that. And then, so every time you do it, it sounds a little bit different, but I brought it back a little bit more. I had it ring out a little bit more and it was a little bit thinner. And then vocals together. Used another filter delay there. I had a swell here. Yeah. And then what I like to do often is for the last chorus, you hear that a lot in pop music, where the drums don't start right away.
Told you I'd change, I tried my best, cut out my heart, left it on the table. Told you I'd change, I crossed the line, lost all myself to keep you in mind. Told you I'd change.
All right, and then in the end,
keep you in mind.
There you have it. I think I'm going to leave it for now, and maybe in 6 months, 3 months, 6 months, revisit it and see if it needs any changes. But yeah, I would love to know your thoughts. Please leave a comment down below. Like, subscribe. It really helps me out a lot. And I will see you on the next Live Loop.